All right, guys, it's like 8:30. Figured I'd do a quick update on the truck since I haven't done one lately. We kind of started getting everything fitted up as far as body and everything goes, which I posted a couple pictures. If you are on my Facebook and you've seen that, obviously you know what I'm talking about there. We have the tree for the bumper is built now, so that's done, and the front core support is all welded in, and the bumper mounts and everything are done there. So we went ahead and started kind of fitting the motor to see with the new intake, it's going to be a little tight because that intercooler, the new one, is a lot. I don't know if I've really shown that yet. So I'll show you guys where I'm at with it. So here is the new intake setup. Disregard these are going a lot bigger. That's currently an 8 on there. Those are going to be 10s to each one. But the Icon throttle body and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the TIC 5-inch intercooler has made this thing so tall that it doesn't really fit. So I kind of notched the cowl just to give me a head start here and a look ahead to see what I'm going to be doing. I think I'm going to follow this along here and just kind of clean it up a little bit and get rid of a lot of this bulk. I think it'll clean up the firewall anyways, which we're in the middle of trying to smooth it out. There's a carbon panel that goes over this side anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. But this right here, kind of do that same thing and just, you know, follow it out pretty smooth. And then obviously all of this will be boxed and plated in. That will have to go back to about where the seam sealer is now. So we'll get that taken care of. But yeah, like I said, the bumper mounts, these here are just hollow tubes, and the core support bolts here. And those hollow tubes, the inside of the bumper here, we built a tree for it. So there's these tubes that stick off of here, these rods that do, and they slide into those tubes. And then on the side, there's basically the bumper will come up, and there's a couple of little standoffs here that the little quick connects will hold the sides of the bumper on. So everything is kind of coming together as far as that goes. We're going to try to make a little bit of progress on getting the cage and everything painted. I've also had a lot of people asking me lately about the fiberglass and what I thought of it. Honestly, GTS, they did just a bang up job, man. It's all, every bit of it fit very well without any trimming. I mean, it's fiberglass, so it's not perfect. You know, there's a couple of, you know, areas where it's like, man, I wish that gap was a little better, but at the same time, it's probably not on them. I had to make my own custom brackets because having Lexan windows and doing drag and drive events, you know, I want to be able to ride without having, you know, a hot box. So the idea is to be able to just pop the doors off. So if you open these doors up, they open up and just lift right off the factory hinges. That also leaves me the ability to hang my factory doors back on so that when people start complaining and bitching about, you know, me being a pro mod, I can throw those doors back on. Featherlight Composites, that's the hood, and it's, I mean, it just is what it is. If you know anything about Featherlight, you know what I'm talking about. The bumper, though, it also fit very, very well. There was no fitment issues there. I liked it a lot. So we're gonna get all that back together, and then it'll get painted and all. And you know, I know I'm doing a little bit of rambling here, but the turbos are on their way. So we're gonna be doing twins this time around. We've got some motion flanges to build custom headers. Yeah, they're over there. The interior is wrecked. Although we do have the dash and firewall is getting cleaned up. Obviously no more factory dash. That's all over here. It's just getting scrapped. And then, you know, the only thing we're keeping is 2 seats, carpet, and then steering wheel. It will have a radio in it just because, you know, I need to have one, and, you know, it'll have wipers and all still, at least a driver's side wiper. I don't think I can do a passenger wiper anymore. And I think that's about it for right this second. I'm going to try to get a little bit of work done on this firewall, and then check back in and see what we got done today. Okay, so open it up a little bit more. I've kind of made a little bit neater line across here, and then just kind of tried to make hard angles, but that also kind of had a nice enough shape to them to where they didn't look like just a hack job. Like on this side, it's going to be, you know, kind of that same, you know, curve here, which will be fine. That'll stay. But then in here, you know, along this whole area, I want to box that in. And I think the way that I'm going to do that is just take a little bit of sheet metal here. We've got some scrap stuff that's super thin, easily bent, and just kind of make the pieces to just kind of fit in here. I don't know if I want to try to make, because this is kind of this is an angle here that lays, you know, like this, but then also over here, it still needs to roll back up. So that's kind of a compound angle there that's difficult to do, at least for me. I'm not experienced in that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is probably come along and make a piece that just sits all the way flush inside here. And then I'll do the same thing over here. I'll make a piece that sits flush back here and comes in, and then keep these all even with the top here, you know, cut them flush. And then all I have to do is then piece in one section back here. I think is going to be the way that I try to do it. I'm going to get started on it and kind of wing it. And if that works, then great. And if not, then we'll change it as we go. So let's get started on it. All right, so I'd love to tell you that took 5 minutes. It was no big deal, but it did kind of kick my ass a little bit. I don't really know what I'm doing with this. So here's where we're at. It's just kind of tacked in for now. Well, obviously, you know, when it's all said and done, it'll be ground smooth. It'll have a little bit of filler over it, and it'll get painted along with the rest of the firewall. But I think that it turned out about as good as I'm going to be able to do it, which, you know, is probably acceptable. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. I'm going to take the intake and set it up there real quick and make sure that it looks like, you know, everything's going to clear correctly. And then I think the only thing I'm going to run into a little bit of an issue with is the wiper motor. Get some stuff out of this cowl here. The wiper motor is going to have to be cut to where it's only a driver's side deal. But it looks like, sorry, I'm trying to hold this with one hand and film. It looks like, though, if I cut all of that off, it looks like the motor, once this is gone, now this arm, the passenger side arm just pops right off, so no big deal there. But I think when I cut this, I think it'll just flop down in there, and I think that this right here will barely sit inside it. It looks like it's going to be pretty close. I've got a little bit of play, so worst case scenario, I can wiggle some things around. But you know, I've got to have wiper blades for some of the classes that we're going to be doing, so you know, that's kind of an important thing to get that in there. So if I need to, I can actually massage this piece here back out a little bit to fit it. But I think it'll fit. I think it's going to fit just fine. So I'm going to get the intake set back on here, and we'll see how that fits and kind of see how it looks, and probably wrap it up for the night. Okay, so I don't have everything bolted to the mid plate at all. So the motor, you know, it still kind of is able to flop a little bit. So these plastic blocks are fantastic for getting an idea of where things sit, but you know, they're more of a best guesstimate kind of deal. So, which, by the way, shout out to our buddy Sean Lewis for letting us borrow this. It's helped out a lot with both this truck and with Chris's new car, which we'll be showing you guys pretty soon. But the only thing I'm seeing is there's these back bolts here are barely hitting that. It may be as simple as just clearance the firewall by taking, just a rubber mallet, just kind of beating it up. Worst case scenario, I can cut that out, cut like a rectangle out and then put a piece of angle iron in there to where it kind of gives it like a lip to sit inside. But all in all, I think that it fits in there pretty good. It's got that cleaned up. Once it's all body filled and it's white to match, I think it'll be just fine. It leaves me plenty of room to get a fitting on here. And if for some reason I don't like where that one goes, I've got even more room on this side for a fitting to come in. So I can kind of do either way on that. So I think all in all, it's gonna go pretty well. I did have to reroute the throttle cable. It's obviously on a factory truck, it comes out here. Mine was a drive-by wire, now it's going drive-by cable. So we'll take this motion cable, and they're super trick. I don't know if you guys have dealt with these at all, but you can actually shorten these up a little bit. I think you actually, I don't know, there's one end of it that you just pop off and you can shorten it up. I don't know exactly which one yet, but you can shorten them. And then that right there will just flow right along here, come down, swoop over. I was a little worried about it being a little too kinked there like that, but I mean, just pull it on the cable. I mean, everything seems to work just fine. So I don't think we're gonna have an issue with that. So that's gonna be it for this video. We're gonna be cranking pretty hard on this and Chris's car, which actually, I'll give you guys a sneak peek since he's not here right now. Which, hey, by the way, we scored a free generator on the side of the road. Just needed a carburetor, and so now we have a race week generator. And again, excuse the mess. I mean, we have been busy. So this is Chris's new car. So, or at least the bits of it that he has currently. He's got a lot of stuff going on with it. And like I said, we're gonna do a few videos on it, kind of show what we did, but just kind of wanted to show you guys what's in the pipeline for him. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Hope you guys enjoyed checking out kind of what we're doing here. And if you want to see more, leave us a comment, let us know what it is you want to see. If you got any questions about anything, we'd obviously, we'd love to interact with you guys and figure out, what you want to see, if you want to see any of it. And if you don't, I'll just keep making videos and talking to myself in front of this camera. Either way, appreciate you checking it out.